So what makes me cranky about The Predator? The kid. A 10-year-old kid is not going to be able to decipher an alien computer system by playing with it for a few hours just because he has Asperger's. Have we learned nothing from Darmok and Jalad? Not only does he have no frame of reference for the Predator's language and iconography, half of the Predator's stuff consists of weapons that we are shown throughout the movie can just as easily kill the user as they can the target if they're not operated properly. Kid would have been more likely to accidentally kill himself while experimentally clicking on the various menu options and symbols in front of him than to discover some pattern to it all that allows him to explain stuff to the adults later. And that's assuming there's no kind of security to the system whatsoever, which seems insane considering even we lowly humans have keys for cars and passwords on our computers. The Predator franchise is also not the place for the precocious prepubescent savant on the spectrum trope. It's cute to make intelligence the supreme warrior trait and all, but being autistic does not automatically make you a super genius. It's a stupid trope as it is, and unless you're willing to show the Predator murdering children, which would be entirely out of character for a Predator in the first place, it completely destroys any sense of tension every time he shows up because you know the kid is 100% safe. Even the humans aren't gonna kill a 10-year-old. So constantly cutting back to this stupid kid and having him keeping up with the military-trained adults only serves to make the tone of this film even more inconsistent than it already was. That's really the biggest problem with The Predator. It can't decide what kind of movie it wants to be. You'll go from a full-on comedy routine 1 minute to some guy hanging upside down with his entrails dripping out of his torso the next. And unlike Deadpool, where that violence is supposed to be funny, you're not supposed to be laughing at the dead guy. That part is played entirely straight. It's supposed to make the Predator scary, and instead it just comes off as insincere. And when the Super Predator shows up, it just highlights how goofy that concept actually is, rather than making him look as dangerous as he should be. The thing about the Predator as a villain is that it was always ridiculously overpowered compared to the humans, and the only thing that even the playing field in the first place was that the Predator was intentionally handicapping itself to have more fun with the hunt. It's a lot like Dragon Ball Z fights where the character suddenly bursts out a new form they were saving because it would have just ended the fight immediately if they had used it earlier. The regular Predator could already slaughter the entire cast without breaking a sweat. Now you introduce a bigger, stronger, more bulletproof Predator that has no reason to toy around with the humans and I'm supposed to just pretend like they have a chance? Well, I might, if the main cast weren't busy yucking it up all the time. In fact, so many of these characters come so close to breaking the fourth wall that it actually got irritating that they never had the balls to go all the way with it like Deadpool and have the characters literally turn and talk to the camera. It makes it impossible to take this whole situation with the kid seriously too, even if he hadn't been an annoying stereotype. I'm supposed to think that this is the movie where they're going to do the unthinkable and brutally murder a 10-year-old when his main character father has practically been winking at the camera for an hour? Sorry, no. Now, it's Shane Black, so the comedy stuff actually is funny most of the time. Although, any of you who have problems with the phrase, "that's retarded," are not going to be laughing all that much because quite a bit of that humor is derived from exploiting the various disabilities the characters have. The supporting cast are all soldiers with mental problems of one sort or another that are played for as many laughs as they can squeeze out of them, so any of you who are a little uptight about that whole thing are not going to have a good time. But in any case, the setup of a genre-savvy elite military wise-ass finding himself stuck with this band of misfit ex-soldiers trying to escape an alien killing machine could have worked really well. But then you'd have to dial all the other things back like the laughably evil government agency whose solution to every problem is to simply murder people. You simply can't be winking at the camera every time an action horror movie trope comes up and then expect us to take the walking, talking trope that is this government asshole seriously. Dial back the humor a skosh. Ditch the kid entirely. Focus on Boyd Holbrook's character and his merry band and have them either being chased by a lone predator or somehow form something of a camaraderie with the one predator against the super predator, and then you'd have a really fun action blockbuster with a few horror elements. Instead, we have to deal with all of this other garbage, which leads to the unforgivable sin of wasting Thomas Jane on Tourette's gags. That's compounded by the fact that the cast has really great chemistry together, so it would otherwise be fun to see them play off of each other. I mean, the kid is irritating, but Boyd, Olivia Munn, Trevante Rhodes, and even Keegan-Michael Key are all made for interesting, memorable characters that are constantly undercut by the script bouncing around all over the place. The other unforgivable sin is bad action. It's dark, it cuts in weird ways, and it tends to become indecipherable once things start moving. There's a major character death that I'm still confused about because it's a quick cut thing in the middle of a bunch of other stuff, and none of the characters even commented on it afterwards. The guy's just dead, and, well, on to the next thing. And that's when it's not stretching suspension of disbelief to the breaking point with stuff that wouldn't get a pass in a cartoon. Again, if this were a genuine comedy, it would be fine, but the movie keeps asking us to take this stuff seriously, and it's just too ridiculous for words. It's also a crime that in 2018, with all this technological wizardry at our disposal, the Predator is even less convincing in this movie than he was in 1987, assuming you can even tell that it's a Predator through all the janky camera work and weird editing. Even the score can't decide whether to take this seriously or play it up as a gag. Add some global warming bullshit as the cherry on top of all of that, and suffice it to say, I can't recommend The Predator for anything other than viewing at home on cable. At least then it'll be a consistent PG-13 movie instead of the sometimes R-rated flick it is. I guess this movie had a ton of rewrites, and that schizophrenia is readily apparent, so just save your money and wait to see it later. That's what I thought about The Predator anyway. Let me know what you thought in the comments. And you don't need to be an autistic savant to find the like button if you enjoyed the review, or to subscribe to the channel for more in the future.